So I've looked at Huawei phones in the channel, but I haven't actually looked at any of their tablets, and it's about time. So I've got with me, as you can see, the Huawei MediaPad M6. This is a promising looking premium tablet from them that runs Android 9 and by default doesn't have Google Play Store installed. In fact, when I first got this tablet a month ago, I couldn't install it. There's now a way around that. You can now get Google Play services on it, Play Store, which is great news. So now it is time for my full review. So all the specs are right up here. Just to briefly mention that this has quite a potent chipset for a tablet. It's the Kirin 980, which was their previous flagship chip. So this is what you get here in the box. So not a lot. You've got some instruction leaflets, which are in Chinese, our Type-C cable, 18-watt charger, which fully charges the tablet in just under 3 hours. And there is a SIM tray tool as well. Now this loan unit has been supplied to me from Trading Shenzhen. Now these guys installed Google Play services for me. When I first had it about a month ago, I tried every single method, and at that time there was no way to install Google Play services. But Play Store is now on there and it's all set up, ready to go. So up the top of the MediaPad M6 here, we have an 8 megapixel webcam. On the right, a fingerprint reader, which is working about 9 out of 10 times for me, but more on that later within this review. I'll be testing it out, as well as the face unlocking. Huawei logo down the bottom, reasonable sized bezels, and a glass. It's all flush with a metal build all around the outside. A complete unibody, as you can see. Overall, the build is very good, solid, but I don't like what they've done with the camera, which sticks out over 1 millimeter. This is our 13 megapixel sensor. It has an LED flash. Now, the camera itself does support 4K video at 30 frames per second, but just like Huawei's mobile phones, the Kirin 980 doesn't maintain a solid 30 frames per second. It always has frame dips, but let's face it, you'll probably be using your mobile and not your tablet here to be recording video. So up top we have quad mics here, 2 antenna lines and 2 of 4 speakers in total that you can see. Another 2 are located on the bottom of the tablet. So we have 3 pogo ports. This is for the keyboard, which I unfortunately do not have. This tablet also supports an optional M Pen, which is Huawei's stylus. Along the right, there's the SIM tray, which takes 2 nano SIMs or nano SIM micro SD card. It is metal reinforced. Type-C port, metal volume up and down, and power button, and you'll see the 3.5mm headphone jack in a bit of an awkward location, but really where else could they put it on a tablet apart from maybe up on the top? The MediaPad M6 weighs 518 grams. It is 7.4mm thick with the camera bump that brings it up to 9.3mm thickness. So this tablet has face unlocking and fingerprint unlocking. So to unlock with the face unlocking, simply tap the button first, look at it, and then you slide up, and it has unlocked. I think you can even get rid of that slide up setting so you can just go straight into it. But with the fingerprint reader always on, this is a little bit faster. So I'll just touch it now, and you can see that took what, under a second. Do it one more time. And for me, that's actually a little bit slow then. For me, it's not always working 100% of the time, which is odd because my fingerprint reader on, for example, my Huawei P30 Pro works great. And normally these capacitive always-on fingerprint readers are really good. There we go. That's more like it. But for me, it's working about 9 or 8 times out of 10. So hopefully with some firmware updates, they can improve upon that just to get it a lot more accurate. So we have a screen that has a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. The resolution is 2560 by 1600, and that is of course a 10.8-inch diagonal screen. Now the bezels around the outside are not bad, but what I don't particularly like is this black border you get around here. Now if they do happen to have one with black bezels, then you wouldn't notice that as much. Now the bezels are not as small as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e that I reviewed, and I don't really mind that they aren't that small because the Tab S5e almost had the bezels like almost too small, because here you're not going to really have too many issues with any missed touches or your palm accidentally touching it when you're gripping and holding it, at least in landscape right here. So let's take a look at the gamma first, which checks out to be quite good. I'm just going to lower the brightness here. So it's almost 2.2. It's about 2.3 the gamma, which is not bad at all. 2.2 would be perfect, of course. Maximum brightness is just over 400 lux. And it does have in the settings options to tweak and adjust the white balance, your scaling as well, and your DPI. That's all through the settings there, which is great. Now if I take a look at some real world images, you can see that it does look very good. This is a nice IPS panel they have in here. It is fully laminated, and I think that pretty much everyone out there is going to be very happy with this screen. But I have to say my personal favorite still is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e. That screen, the Super AMOLED panel, is really nice. That is a super screen that it has in here, but this one, still not bad at all that Huawei have selected and used. Eye comfort mode is in here as well, which removes the blue light. A lot of tablets do this now, even mobile phones of course. Screen recorder, hotspot, and various other modes that you'd expect to find on a premium flagship phone. Now just like the offerings from Samsung, it does have its own desktop mode, and you don't need to plug in an external display to run it. It's simply from the toggles. So you get a very desktop-like experience here, and as you can see, you can bring up the menu. So it looks a little bit like we're running Windows or something similar. Very similar in layout and in terms of what you can do, just like Samsung DeX. Battery life and information and other toggles are displayed here in the notification center. Controlling the brightness is also from there. And all in all, performs quite well, and it's great to have this option. So the tablet is running Android 9. We'll take a look at the performance. I'm in full screen gestures at the moment because I use my Huawei P30 Pro with full screen gestures, and for me it's just easier. I like the fact that I can take full advantage of this 1440p screen. So multitasking, very quick to swap between the apps. I've had no issues with this. I just wanted to first show you that YouTube, yes, running in 1440p, and I'm not having any problems with it at all there, but it doesn't have Widevine level 1. So here we have DRM info. It's not pulling through all the details. So I had to go into Netflix, and I've got Amazon Prime Video here running at the moment, and you can tell that, oh, that's in standard definition, so it's not going to look as sharp. Does it mean that you cannot enjoy your favorite TV series like Mr. Robot here? No, I mean you can still watch it, it's fine, sounds really great with the speakers, it's just not as sharp as it could be, which for some people may be a bit of a deal breaker there. So as mentioned, the performance is good with this. We'll check it out, a PDF file here at the moment, so this one should have been downloaded, and you can see it looks very good. Double tap in here, and you can see the text nice and clear there, and swapping over the pages not as fast as an iPad Pro. Okay, even though it does have the Kirin 980 in here, it is a very fast chip, 7 nanometers. It still doesn't beat the custom silicon that we have with the Bionic chips from Apple, but that isn't too bad. So I'll go through my typical, sometimes I haven't actually noticed here, a little bit of slowdown. So swiping up to home, not slow down, it's like an animation. I wouldn't call it a stutter, but the icons need to be rearranged for a few seconds and they sort themselves out. Actually, it's only milliseconds that happens. So just jump here into Gallery and go through some of the benchmarks that I have been running and testing with this. So read speed here of the storage, it's only using eMMC 5.1, which is fine for a tablet, I think. This is not going to bottleneck it at all. 205 writes, good random 4K reads there. GPS working very well. Okay, so we do have a hardware compass on this. It locks onto a lot of satellites and sees a lot, as you can see, 32. Accuracy is 4 meters, and this will work really well with Google Maps, and you could use it as a dedicated GPS and mapping program for that. So the camera, I don't think too many people are going to be bothered by this. It's camera 2 API limited support, so full or level 3 would be a lot better to use apps like Open Camera, but that really I don't think is too much of an issue. So the wireless speeds, 4G speeds here, that depends on your carrier. It's okay, it's good to have the dual SIM support, and we also have micro SD card support there as well, as I showed you in the beginning with the slot. And here is the wireless, so we're getting maximum speeds on average around 320 megabits per second, which is good, not the fastest I have seen. And over the other side of the apartment, 154 megabits per second, which is ideal. Some tablets struggle to get even 100 there, so that is okay. The Antutu score, now a lot of people would be interested in this one. So very fast for a tablet, for an Android tablet. I know in the channel, a lot of the tablets that I review get scores that are half this, so this is a high performance tablet. And if we take a look now at the free available storage, on first boot, get 52 gigabytes free there, and the Android security patch level, 1st of August, not bad, and it is running, of course, Android 9. Lastly, the default apps we get. So we've got a few bloatware apps on here. As you can see, this one here, for example, they can be uninstalled. So do expect a little bit of bloat from Huawei. Now onto audio. I wanted to point out the 3.5mm headphone jack, as you saw in the start of this video, is in a bit of an awkward location. Now you need it to make voice calls really, because if you don't, when you're making voice calls, it'll go through the speakers and use the mics here on the top, which they're good because you've got 4 mics, but the problem is you lose privacy. So when you plug in a 3.5mm headset, as you can see, the location of it's a little bit in the way here. So when you're holding it like that, you kind of got this problem. Now that's easily solved, of course, by simply just rotating the tablet around. Not an issue, right? You got the camera then at the bottom, but the problem is with Skype calls, you need to have the camera on the top. That's the only time really that location of that 3.5mm headphone jack is an issue for me right there. So if I go back now into this video that I wanted to show you just quickly, how do the Harman speakers sound on this? So Harman speakers that has got very good, there's 4 of them, so 2 downwards, 2 top firing, and they're very loud. They've got some bass to them, but here's a very quick sample with one of my recent videos. And to give you a quick sample of voice of me just talking here in the beginning.
Amazing depth of 100 meters. So I have with me now their new release. This is a much smaller model. It's a lot cheaper. It's only about...
So good bass, really good sounding speakers on here. And I have to say they're probably almost as good as the Samsung Galaxy Tab 5, the E version that I reviewed. So the S5e, sorry. That's got really good speakers on it as well. This I would say is almost as good, if not probably just as good. So I have PUBG here with GFX tool set on the highest absolute setting. So that's 60 frames per second, 1440p. And I got really lucky right here. And it is so smooth. So when I zoom in here with the scope, just take a look now at just how good this is. When you zoom around, there's no lag, running at the 60 frames per second on the highest settings. Let's put that guy out of his misery there. And Shadowgun Legends, another popular FPS game that I like to test out because this one has some really demanding graphics, as you can see. So I've got it set on 60 frames per second. It's on the highest possible visuals. And it looks really good. You get the occasional little stutter, but overall really good performance out of the MediaPad M6 here when it comes to gaming. So with the front webcam, we do get 1080p video, 30 frames per second, and it's even got electronic image stabilization, which has a bit of a crop as a result. So I'm holding it at arm's length right out here now, and I don't really think it's necessary for them to apply the electronic image stabilization with a tablet. On mobile phones, definitely, but with a tablet, no, not really. So the audio you're listening to right now is from the quad mics, and I do happen to like it. I think they've got decent audio quality, especially for a tablet, as well as the video quality. So in applications that I've been testing out like Skype, video does look good. Alright, so this is a solid offering here from Huawei. We've got a great screen. The bezels are slim. They're not super slim like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e, but it is good. Really good build to it, unibody. The camera bulge, it sticks out a little bit, which I don't particularly like, but overall, the performance of this tablet is what makes it stand out between all the rest of those tablets, apart from, say, of course, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 with a Snapdragon 855. This one would have to be probably Android's second fastest tablet with the Kirin 980 in it. It really is super smooth, fluid, multitasks well. The task manager is a little bit aggressive as mentioned, so you should lock apps that you want to keep on there. Now battery life, just to mention that I'm losing 9.7% every hour with the screen configured to 200 lux. That is Chrome. That is streaming with video services, which is good. Now when you step it up to gaming, more demanding use there, then it's about 16%. It's actually 15.9 or something that I was losing per hour, which is actually quite decent. You put it on the performance mode and it will increase further. So you're probably only then going to get about 5 hours of gaming time. Now along the back here, just below the camera, it gets warm. Now I haven't broken out my thermal probe because just touching it, I know that it's not getting hot enough to be an issue or concern, at least not for me. Now it's got the pogo port pins on the bottom with an optional keyboard and stylus. Because this is a lone unit, unfortunately, I do not have those accessories, which would have been great to cover because that would then make it more of a, well, with the desktop mode, more of a practical tablet then, because it's got Huawei's, of course, desktop mode that they have, just like Samsung DeX, very similar to that. So the main thing is the performance, very good screen, it's bright, fully laminated, but here comes the con. You can't take advantage of it when you want to watch Amazon Prime Video, Netflix. Okay, you can install the apps, but it's just standard definition, which is a real letdown. So hopefully there's going to be a firmware update, an over-the-air update that comes through, gives us wideband level 1 cert. Normally Huawei have it, but I guess with the MediaPad M6, they're just not bothering because they don't expect to sell this overseas. I don't even know if they do yet. But this is the Chinese ROM version, so maybe if there is a global one, which probably won't, of course, have Android Play, Google Play on there, sorry, which you can now install on here. I was going to say it's running Android 9, and yep, you can install it now finally, and it's running fine with no glitches or problems, which is good. All the apps you want, you can install, which I have done here. So overall, this tablet comes recommended from me because it's got great speakers, almost as good as an iPad Pro, well, probably about the same. Very loud, good bass to them, just like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e. The screen is not as good as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e, and that's another recommended tablet from me. So if you're in the same sort of price range and you don't care much about gaming performance or having the absolute best performance, then that is another really good option. My review of that one's up here. But if you're gaming, definitely, if you're going to game a lot on tablet with PUBG and demanding games, the Kirin 980 performs really well. The Mali G76, the MP10 GPU that it has in here, isn't the fastest in the Android ecosystem, but it has to be one of the top 5.3 GPUs at the moment. So really good performance here. Thank you so much for watching this review, and I hope to see you back in the channel with future up and coming tablet reviews and plenty more that I will be reviewing that'll be in the channel shortly. Bye for now.